Most of us like to buy in bulk to save money and avoid frequent trips to the grocery store. But how do you keep food from going bad too quickly? Here are some brilliant ways to prevent food from spoiling. Nobody likes the taste of plastic cheese. Well, to overcome this, store cheese in parchment paper so that it keeps its flavour and stays fresh for longer. Have you ever thought about bringing sand into your kitchen? Storing root vegetables in moist sand or sawdust extends freshness for several months. Apples can stay fresh for over 6 months if stored in a humid environment, around 30 to 35 Fahrenheit. Store apples in a crisper drawer of your fridge and separate any that are bruised or rotting from the bunch. Wrap celery, broccoli and lettuce in aluminium foil to help it stay crisp for 4 weeks or more. Onions can last up to 8 months when they are stored in a pantyhose. Tie a knot between each onion to separate. Separate potatoes, apples and onions. Sticking these 3 produce items together will cause them to spoil faster. Wash your berries with vinegar just after you bring them home to get rid of the mould. Use 1 part of vinegar to 10 parts of water. Whilst honey may become more solidified or change colour over time, it does last forever. Keep it in a cool place and store it in a tight jar. Milk can last up to 3 months even though its consistency may change. Still not convinced that you can drink milk past its expiration date? Then freeze milk in its original container and thaw it when you're ready to use. Do you want scrambled eggs for a year? Then store egg yolk in your freezer. Mix the eggs in a bowl with a little salt or sugar and place in an airtight freezer bag and stick in your freezer. How often do you use an entire can of tomato paste? Most recipes use only a small amount and leftover paste quickly goes bad in the fridge. To keep it fresh, place the remaining paste in a plastic sandwich bag and create smaller portions inside the bag. Do you love herbs but you hate to see them go bad? Then freeze fresh herbs in olive oil. This prevents freezer burn and browning that happens when herbs get stuck in the freezer. Do you know that wrapping banana stems can make them last longer? Separate each banana and put plastic wrap around each stem to help bananas stay fresh for up to 4 days longer. If you can't get through an 8-pound bag of carrots fast enough, chop it up, blanch in hot water and place in freezer bags. Most fruits and veggies do well when frozen. How about a wrap? Make a leafy green wrap for lettuce and other greens. Wrapping unwashed leafy greens in a paper towel absorbs moisture so that they do not wilt too quickly. Next I'll show you how to keep ginger fresh. Make small spoonfuls of fresh grated ginger and place on a parchment lined tray. Stick this tray in the freezer until the ginger is frozen and then transfer the ginger to an airtight container and put back in the freezer. People tend to think that placing tomatoes in the fridge will keep them fresh, but tomatoes should be stored at room temperature. Place them in a bowl lined with a paper towel and keep the stems facing up to prevent bruising the top. Instead of defrosting and refreezing ground beef, divide it into individual portions inside a freezer bag before you stick it in the freezer. A container of cottage cheese or sour cream will last twice as long if you put it upside down in your fridge. It creates a vacuum that inhibits the growth of bacteria that spoils food. Next I want you to throw away the Tupperware. Use mason jars to store food instead. These glass containers won't get stained and can help food stay fresh for longer. Store fresh pineapples upside down. Pull off the leafy top and flip your pineapple upside down to redistribute sugars that sink to the bottom and help it stay fresh for longer. At what temperature is your refrigerator running? Most refrigerators are kept at 38 degrees Fahrenheit, but temperatures can be turned down to between 36 and 37 degrees Fahrenheit to extend food shelf life. Did you know that lettuce can be stored up to a month in a glass jar to stay fresh? Also, scallions can last 3 times longer when they are stored in a jar of water. Trim the amount you need and they will continue to grow. Finally, cake can last several days on the counter, weeks in the fridge or months in the freezer. To keep the cake from going stale, place sliced bread on the open ends. These tips are great to share with family and friends as they look for new ways to keep food fresh for weeks and months to come. Please share with your friends and family to pass on these helpful tips to keep food fresh. Thanks for watching.